Welcome back. I'm Dana.
I'm Dallas.
And we are Double D's Dishing the Dirt. We have such a good topic today. I've been so excited about talking about this topic just because of how relevant it is, at least in my life. I'm not sure if it's relevant for anybody listening, and I hope it's not just because of the topic itself. But if it is, at least we can go through and talk about it a little bit together.
Sorry, guys. Also, I'm sick. Mouth breathing. I hope it's not picking up.
No, it's
Sorry.
allergy
Ignore my
season.
sniffles, okay, guys? The weather has been absolutely fucked, and
it's allergy season, and it's hitting us like a ton of bricks.
Yeah, it's awful. It has been so bad. I wish we would just get the storms that they're calling for. So,
everybody, take your allergy meds. Zyrtec is your friend. We love Flonase.
Okay, guys. Okay. Today, our topic we are dishing on is burnout. And that's just, we're going to use it as like a overall category, workplace burnout, academic burnout. We'll talk about everything.
Yeah. And you even mentioned it's not even something that you can be diagnosed with.
Yes.
Which was baffling to me when we talked about it, because I can't tell you how many times lately somebody's gone to me and they're like, you look tired, you look irritable, like you are not yourself. And I'm like, yeah, girl, I'm dealing with burnout. Like, yeah. And it is not even something you can be diagnosed with.
It's just not something that is singular diagnosed. So, the National Center for Biotechnology Information did a study on this. It is a big topic in the psych field. But the problem is it's highly argued in the psych field because it's not described by itself. Like, burnout is never alone. It is usually associated as a bigger part of a mental health diagnosis. So anxiety or depression are usually the primary diagnosis, and then burnout is a symptom of that. Which is most likely probably thinking. As a psych major, I'm going to say it probably is.
But it's also just something that, again, gets like...
Yeah, go ahead. Try to come up with the word you're trying to use.
I know. Convoluted.
Yeah, sure. That's a new word.
I love big words. Sometimes it just takes even time to get them out.
Real.
That is such a word. That is definitely a word.
I think it's close to a word.
But it's umbrella termed for a lot of things, essentially.
Yeah, the problem is, and I'm sure it is a bigger part, but the problem is that it's not getting treated. And if it is that major of a symptom, it's something that has to be focused on. But usually we're too busy diagnosing the chemicals imbalance aspect of depression.
Yeah, I think when I was sort of researching for this topic, I already have my own stories and everything, but I kind of wanted to delve into it a little bit. And a lot of times burnout is, like you have already mentioned, caused by stress, but it's not the same as stress. So stress can revolve and result from too much mental and physical pressure and too many demands on your time and energy. And burnout can be about the too little. So too little emotion, too little motivation, too little care. And where stress can make you feel overwhelmed, burnout can make you just feel utterly depleted.
Yeah, insomnia is often associated with
Exactly. Which, again, for the past, I don't even know, couple months, couple weeks, definitely more than a couple weeks.
Yeah.
I have just felt so burnt out. I have a wedding to plan and help plan, I should say. Not my wedding, by the way. A wedding to organize, work to do. Work has been very, it's just, not that work is bad, but it's just been all up on my grill. I've had a lot to do, as does many people, as does most people.
Yeah.
But that involves weekend work. And then I volunteer in this volunteer position, guys. I swear I took it on for the case that it needed to be taken on. Somebody needed to take on this volunteer responsibility.
Yep.
but it was promised with the potential to be paid and that it wouldn't be too demanding. And you know what? They lied. They lied to me. They lied to me all up and down. It has not been paid, and I've been working on it since December. And baby, it's like another full-time job. It is so chaotic and crazy. And now I've gotten into a slump where I am not sleeping enough. And when I wake up, I just don't want to get out of bed. And that's partly depression. You know, it's in part depression. But I know I have to get here because I need to work the job that actually pays me. And I know when I get here, it'll be better. But at the same time, it's still mass chaos, you know? And I have felt people call me for different things. I won't answer.
Yeah.
That's not me. People text me. I have unanswered text messages, and I have OCD about those notification numbers on top of my apps. And I've just let them run.
I was on the receiving end of Dana's ghosting the other day.
I really did ghost. It was bad, but that was an accident.
I had so much to tell her, and I was like, oh, she's not answering. I'm just going to not tell her. And now I don't remember what it was.
I feel so bad. And it makes you feel worse because people come to you and they're like, I've been trying to reach you. I've been trying to do something with you. And I've been trying to like get a hold of you. And I'm like, I'm really sorry. Like,
yeah,
I genuinely am. I can't have extra, you know, that extra oomph is just not there for me to do things.
And it's hard because that's one of the ways to negate burnout. Is doing extra things.
And getting them off your list and checking those boxes.
Hey, no list. It's not a requirement.
No, it's not. But for me, like my mental health and my organization, I'm very reliant on lists and to-do lists and getting them done. Because for me, being able to cross out that line of something that I needed to do is like such a weight. Like it is such like a dopamine boost for me. Because I'm like, oh my God, it's done. It's off my plate. Like, I don't even have to look twice at it. And like I said, lately, that list has just been so long and felt never ending that things have been numb. Like it's not that it's less important. It's just become more of a numbing factor for me instead of exciting, energetic, like my usual giddy self.
No, one of the symptoms is exactly feeling bored or uninterested in aspects of areas of leisure that you usually.
Yeah, it's affecting not only my mental health, but also my physical health. Like I've had less motivation to get out and do the things I needed to do. And you know what, ladies and gents? And I ran a 10-miler on Sunday and it felt great. I mean, obviously my hips really freaking hurt afterwards. But I wanted to do more. Like that was, again, such a dopamine rush. And I was like, why don't I do this more? It's because I don't have that motivation to do it. Yeah. And that's so sad because I genuinely feel happier when I'm out and about and I'm getting to do things and being productive. But as we mentioned earlier, burnout can not only affect your mental health, but your physical health. Yeah. And the effects of burnout can hurt your home and work and social life.
Yeah, and it all comes around. Like you're stressing out because of work and social life and home. And then you're not being able to, or not having the motivation, or even the physical pain that comes along with burnout. Like being able to do these things then creates another layer of anxiety and pressure to get it done. It's like an endless cycle.
Yeah, exactly. When I was looking, like I said, I did some research on this topic because I was so excited to talk about burnout. And I was gathering that a lot of people, at least when we have been mentioning about different potential topics about our podcast and what we can talk about, a lot of people were excited to hear more about this topic because it is relevant. And I think a lot of people who have anxiety and have depression have experienced this burnout.
Yeah. I think it's often overlooked too because it's included in these things. Mm-hmm. Like if you have anxiety or depression, you may be overlooking it. And it's not something that they're like even thinking about, not trying to avoid it, but trying to prevent it. And even like corporations and schools and stuff
Yeah.
can be in charge of like helping people negate this burnout.
When I was looking at it, it looks like there's major types of burnout too, and not just falling into a category of like work burnout and school burnout. There's what's called overload burnout, and it happens when you work harder and harder, becoming frantic in your pursuit of success. And it's, if you experience this, you may be willing to risk your health and personal life to feel successful.
Yeah.
I also looked at under-challenged burnout, and this happens when you feel underappreciated and bored. Maybe your job isn't providing learning opportunities or have room for professional growth. If you feel under-challenged, you may distance yourself, become cynical, and avoid responsibilities. There is neglect burnout. This happens when you feel helpless. If things aren't going right, you may believe you're incompetent or unable to keep up with your responsibilities. And such burnout can be closely connected to imposter syndrome, a psychological pattern in which you doubt your abilities, talents, and accomplishments. And then we have habitual burnout, the most serious phase of burnout. Habitual burnout happens when your physical and mental fatigue is chronic. You feel sad or your behavior changes. Sometimes you can cross over into depression and suicidal thoughts. It's crucial to seek help at this stage.
Interesting.
And again, for anybody listening, if you're ever feeling very low or sad, and you are teetering on thoughts, please seek help or reach out.
Crisis text line is great. I volunteer there.
That's great. And we just wanted to put that in there because that is important, and we both view it as important.
Oh yeah.
Not even in our line of where we work, but also just in daily life. And we want you to feel supported and appreciated, and also that there is support there for you.
Yeah, I'll link. I'll put the numbers for crisis text line and some help lines in the post.
Perfect. Because it's there for you and there are resources available, and we just wanted to mention that as well. But yeah, looking at this, we have overload burnout, under-challenge burnout, neglect burnout, and then we have habitual burnout.
Yes, I wanted to say something about the habitual.
Yeah.
On the side of the arguing happening in mental medicine and psychology, it really sounds like bipolar.
Yeah.
And I think that's the problem. There's a lot of misdiagnosis too. You may think, oh, I'm just having this burnout. It's just in waves. And it may be something more, and it may not be. But reaching out and seeking those connections can help you get tools for either option.
Yeah.
But it's interesting.
It's also
everything's so closely tied.
Realizing what's happening to you.
Yeah.
Because as you said, as we've mentioned before, like a lot of it can be overlooked or just, categorized under something else. When I was looking over those lists too, I was like, wow, I can find something in each of these burnout lists, like categories or the types of burnout, I should say, where I have felt that way, within my own burnout. Like, again, mine was a lot of, I felt the pressure of wanting this wedding planning to go well for the sake of, I love this person that I'm helping and I want her to be happy and I want it to be successful. So I felt that kind of overload. I should say, like, I was taking on so much without realizing the consequences.
Yeah.
And that happens to a lot of people. I was trying to do what I thought was right and take on my responsibilities, but then things just weren't going right. And that, falls under neglect. Like for this, I mentioned before my volunteer position, I basically assist with rentals of facilities. And people were contacting me during my workday, even though I had mentioned that I do work full time and I can't put all of my, responsibilities into accepting all these phone calls and messages from these potential renters while I'm doing a full-time job. And there was just some miscommunication there and people were getting upset. And then I felt basically what I felt was like my world was collapsing. Like I was like, so many people are reaching out and I'm not able to assist them the way I want to. And then things just kept slipping between the cracks. And it made me feel like I was being incompetent or unable to keep up with what I had already agreed to do, and made my burnout feel worse. So again, being able to understand what's happening and know that it's not going to be you the problem. It's just maybe things need to, you need to find some workaround so that you can feel better.
Yeah.
So do we have, like, what are the stages of burnout? Like,
I do. I was going to say that.
Oh my God, we love that. We're so interconnected.
About how your burnout progress. Whatever. So the first stage is an urgent need to prove yourself, which, you want perfectionism. You're scared that you're not going to fulfill demands. Dana did that earlier today.
I literally do that.
She yelled at a computer.
I was so annoyed. It
didn't listen.
It was moving so slow. I have eyes and witnesses to say that it was just frozen, and I was like clicking on the button so many times, and I was like, can I just exit it or like restart it?
It was not listening. It did not work.
No, and but
it's not on Dana. She wanted to prove herself, but it wasn't on Dana because the people who needed it forgot it in the first place. So.
Yeah, but I volunteered to help them, so it made me feel bad.
The second step, I should talk quieter. They're right outside. The second step is working harder. You feel the need to do everything yourself and complete tasks as soon as possible. Again, yelling at the
computer,
the printer.
Yeah, but it's also taking on so much. You want to be able to prove to the people around you that they can rely on you, and you can have that responsibility. And then when things start piling up, because like you might be like me, and I was actually just called this earlier today by a coworker. I'm a yes person. Yeah. I absolutely am, and I completely and utterly agree with that. Because I want to show people that I can do more.
And you want to do it yourself.
I am capable and I can be independent. It's okay to rely on others. It is okay.
Ask for help.
And that's something I do have to remind myself.
Okay, the third step is neglecting your needs. So putting what needs to get done before what your body needs.
Yeah. I can't tell you how many times people have come up to me and said, have you eaten today? Did you eat? Did you get a snack? Do you want something? And I'm like, oh, I'll get to that later. Yeah. I'll get to that later. I'm not worried about it. I really need to get this done.
Yeah, I have to print this.
I have to do this. I have to run somewhere. I have to go to there. Finding a balance is so important. And we've talked about this in our previous episodes. Finding that balance. You can't continue to do things and take on more when you yourself are not up to par to do it.
Right. You can't take care of others' needs if you're not caring for your own needs.
Exactly.
That's why you put your mask on first if an airplane is crashing and somebody else.
I mean, it's true. That is true. Just make sure you're keeping yourself in check about what you need.
Yeah. Heal yourself and then work on others. Okay. Next is interpersonal conflicts, because you're not sleeping well. And as we said, burnout leads to physical. So then you're agitated about that. I mean, that comes with, you also want to do things yourself. Like this whole thing is,
which also makes
weight you put on yourself
feel isolated.
Yeah.
Like you then become more isolated. And you're okay with sitting in that isolation because you don't want people to know you can't do something.
Right. That's like the fifth stage too, the revision of values, because you're starting to seem insensitive, and it's your second goal is your family, because your first goal is getting what needs to be done.
Yeah, I definitely have fallen into the category of becoming somebody other than myself. Like I've fallen into bad habits or bad characteristics or something like that just because I am not myself. And instead of, being able to talk through things with people and getting the advice that I should have taken months ago, I just kind of sat in my thoughts and suffered in silence, and that happens for a lot of people.
Yeah.
I'm not alone in that. I know that.
No.
And although I strive for perfection and perfectionism, you're never going to be the perfect person. Like nobody's going to be the perfect person.
Yeah, I just think that's hard
a really,
people to accept.
Really hard thing to accept. I still don't.
Yeah.
9 times out of
I
10,
think
I'm still
everybody
dealing with
wants
it.
we're all chasing this term of perfectionism and being the perfect child or person in the world, and it's impractical. It really is, because what is the perfect person?
And sometimes you look at that and I'm like, there's no way that I could be wrong in this.
Right.
There's no way that I can be wrong. And I fall into that category sometimes because I'll do something and then maybe it doesn't turn out the way that I envisioned it was going to turn out. And people come to me and they're giving me advice, and I'm not taking that. Like, I'm sort of denying that advice.
Right.
I'm like, no, my way is still better.
Yeah.
Like, because I can do that and I can accomplish that. I don't know why I haven't, like, it didn't turn out the way I wanted, but
it didn't work, but in Dana's head.
But I'm still trying to be so independent about it that I won't seek help or accept that help.
Yep. So stage 6 is denial. You start cutting people off. You're in denial that you can't do it, basically. Which goes with the 7th step, which is withdrawal, because you get angry if someone criticizes you and you start to feel hopeless.
Yes.
And that's where we see substance abuse start to come in and play a part in a individual who's suffering with burnout.
Yeah, bad habits, and you fall into things that you feel could make things better for you, but in the end it's really not. We want healthy habits. Because they are out there. Resources are out there for you to find those things as well. But going back to it, like, when you start becoming somebody that you're not, and you start to become like impatient and intolerant, and just angry, all the time, there's an issue.
Yeah, and a lot of it comes from
wrong
because you're not sleeping. All you can focus on is getting this thing done.
Yeah. Again, I know I'm bringing up my story a lot here, but I just connect with this topic so much because I can see it clear as day that I have just had so much burnout lately. And maybe it's one of those things where it's like the seasonal depression just like hits you full force.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's just because I know I have a lot to prove right now in my stage of life. Like, I know I have a lot to prove.
But to who?
To myself, like to others.
Like, why do we put so much pressure on ourselves?
You know what though? Like, I think it's one of those self-challenging things too. Like, I can challenge myself, with the things that I do or work that I put out, to be better and to continue to grow. Like, maybe that's just something that I utilize in order to grow into my next stage of life or my next, work development. Yeah. I've just been feeling so out of it lately that I can tell when I look in the mirror, that's not who I'm supposed to be.
Right.
And I think one of the biggest indicators was talking it out with my coworkers, with you, like, people that I do have a great support system that surrounds me, and they just saw a shift. You guys saw a change. Yeah. And I was like, okay, well, let me tell you about what I'm dealing with in my life right now. Yep. And maybe from there we can sort of pinpoint exactly what is going wrong. Yeah. And in the end, it's just, I'm a yes person through and through. And I took on so much responsibility for different things. And it's things that I know individually I could absolutely conquer. Yeah. Individually, like planning things, wedding planning, event planning is my niche. I love it. It's so fun. I am neglecting some of that responsibility right now by not finding
you're not doing
a venue for the wedding shower. I took the steps that I needed to do for it, so I can check that off my box. Yeah. But I didn't get full force.
Which was something you were excited about, and then now you just...
Yeah, I feel like at several moments across the board, I dipped my toe in the water into each of those things, but I didn't jump in. And I think having them still on my list of things to do is making it so much harder for me in the long run to be, capable for myself.
Because you're still seeing them, and
because I'm still seeing them every day. I'm still getting calls from renters every day. I'm still getting people that need answers and have questions. And they're simple. 9 times out of 10, they're simple questions. I can't just pick up the phone and answer them.
She's choosing not to.
But I'm also working now.
Yeah.
I'm working and I'm trying to create that boundary. And I think that's where my burnout comes, is that when I do something right for one thing, it becomes wrong for the other.
Yeah.
And where do I go from that? What do I do with that?
Yeah.
And that's something that I'm currently dealing with. And maybe that's something that you're dealing with too. So just wanted to bring that up. I know I'm talking about myself a lot, but I can totally connect with this topic.
Yeah.
Because I see it.
We have a few more stages, and then we can get into avoiding it, which you mentioned some of.
Yeah.
Boundaries. Behavioral changes, which you mentioned, you avoid additional responsibilities. Like, you took the steps to reach out to these venues, but haven't committed to a venue yet. Like, you don't want the responsibility of taking on actually moving forward with the process.
Mm-hmm.
Depersonalization, which is you're seeing yourself as the yes person, that your life's meaningless and your only purpose is to get this work done. Which it's not, you guys. You guys are so much more than just the work that needs to get done.
Yeah. Make sure you eat.
Yeah. Dana's reminder to eat. Dana had a granola bar. So
I did. I had a granola bar. We're good. We're on a...
Though I think she might get something to eat in town before a play, so...
Yeah,
she's going to get something to eat before the play.
I'm getting a stare down right now.
The next step is the person feels empty. It's the exhaustion and the panic because you're avoiding responsibility. So what needs to get done is not getting done now.
Yeah.
And that's impacting you.
It's more panic, more anxiety, and it bubbles. Yeah.
Then the next is despair, which is self-hatred because you're not getting the stuff done, and suicidal thoughts, which is where we start to see a big problem. That's when you have to reach out and get help. You should get help before this point, but definitely at this stage. And then the final stage is total burnout, which is immediate care. It's a total collapse of everything.
Yeah.
Your self-identity is gone at this point.
Do you know that when you get to a certain level of just extreme anxiety and panic, and you've been depressed, and that you haven't been sleeping, and everything becomes erotic, your body will shut down on you. Yeah, it will shut down. It will physically shut down. It's not, oh girl, I just need hours
it's not just mental.
No,
it is
boo-boo.
physical.
Like, you will pass out, and things can just go to the extreme. And it's knowing these signs and symptoms and being able to check in with yourself that you can avoid that total burnout.
So, how can we avoid this burnout?
Manage your workload.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the biggest things.
Ask for help.
Ask for help. Manage your workload. Talk with people. Because maybe you are not seeing these signs.
Very important.
Yeah, maybe you are not seeing these signs, but other people are noticing them, or at least a change in you or from you. Yeah. That they're like, let's check in. Like, what is going on? Yeah. But in that, you do have to be honest here. Like, a lot of times like I said, I self-sabotage myself and I keep it to myself. Yeah. Because why do I want to share with you the rawness of I am struggling?
How I'm failing.
Yeah. Why do I want to share with you that I am struggling and I'm not doing the greatest? Because I don't want you to think that I'm weak.
Yeah. That's why text lines are good. Because we're talking about also creating boundaries. So separating work and personal life and having that distinction. So sometimes you may not have the relationship with your coworkers to go to them and talk to them, but there's always, even social media, as cringy as that is, there's people out there who post content about burnouts and about recovering, and maybe you can find a community there.
Yeah. I will say, I've learned a lot through social media. I mean, definitely do your own research and take that with a grain of salt.
Yeah, we're not saying social media is a great source. Social media can be very fake, but there's good resources out there.
But it also bridges communities and community of people and networking. So definitely take a look at that. I think the other thing that I have written down in my notes is deadline. Like, I have it in all caps staring at me, deadline. That's because I put deadlines on things that I know I won't meet.
Yeah.
And then by the time they come around and I haven't gotten something off my list or I haven't done something else, like, it makes me feel worse because
it does,
I'm a time management person. Like, I follow through with things and I get things done.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to feel like I'm letting people down. But sometimes I force myself to have a deadline when either one does not need a deadline or I make it so much so that I can't even meet it.
Right. It should be reasonable.
It should definitely be reasonable. Because you don't want to look back and say, wow, I didn't meet that. Maybe people are right about me. Like, maybe I really, am not the greatest person. Yeah. I can't do this and all this other stuff. It's going to make you feel worse. You're going to end up self-sabotaging yourself.
Right.
And as you have mentioned a couple times during the course of this podcast already, like, check in with yourself. So rest.
Yeah.
Rest.
Sufficient sleep is important.
Come down from it. Like, only recently have I been able to get to work.
She's been at work so early.
On time.
It's been crazy. I was like, holy shit,
I
this
have
morning.
been getting to work on time. Like, I mean, on time is late. Late is just not good enough. So on time
we're so early to work.
We are about 30 minutes early to work every day.
We come into the office 30 minutes early.
Yes.
We're in the parking garage an hour early.
Hey, sometimes we just need to decompress with each other before we go in.
Just listen to some bops.
I have, for the past couple months, I've been dealing with burnout and suffering with burnout to the point where I have such bad insomnia. I can't sleep. I've been taking melatonin like it's gummy bears. And I get up and I'm groggy and I'm unmotivated to get out of bed. And that makes, time worse because then I feel rushed, and the feeling of being rushed, I don't know how to explain that feeling other than I hate it. I hate it. I hate being rushed and that pressure.
Yeah.
And I know 9 times out of 10 I do it to myself, but at the same time, like, it's not fun. It doesn't feel great. And, over the course of those couple months, like, I wasn't sleeping enough where I could get to work. And then you were texting me, hey, where are you? And I'm like, oh my God, I'm stuck in traffic. Because as time goes by, traffic does get in the way of me getting in.
Yeah.
And it's another thing that I'm anxious about. Brutal. And it's not great feeling. And we don't want to do this to ourselves. I want to mention that, and this is a me thing. It doesn't happen to everybody, but I'm one of those people that does really well with praise. I will say, like, feeling of being recognized and appreciated, I do really well with that. And
I feel like it's a big thing.
I mean, it's a universal thing for a lot of people, but I do better when I'm recognized for doing the things right that I'm doing.
Yeah.
And when I don't get that and I think that I've gone above and beyond for something, I feel bad.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel great. It's not the greatest feeling. I get it. But also knowing yourself that you are doing a good job.
Yeah, you guys are doing great. And even if you are, like, not meeting these deadlines, that's okay. It's okay. And make sure you're asking for help. If you can't make a deadline and it's really important for work, ask somebody.
Yeah. One of the first couple episodes we've ever done, I kept saying, like, look in the mirror and be confident about it. Look in the mirror and have a check-in. Yeah. Like, hey, you are doing a good job. Yeah. You are doing what you need to do in this moment. And probably
I'm doing everything in my will.
Yeah.
That's all we can ask of you. Is for you to be trying your best.
I have in my notes for myself taking on too much without asking for help. Because I do fall in that category of taking too much on without asking for help. So maybe don't do what I do.
Yeah.
And ask for help.
Don't wait for somebody to come to you because they may not see you're struggling.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't want to be alienated from activities. Right. You don't want to feel isolated. You don't want to sit at home and then people are like, come out with us, do this with us. And then you're like, I am way too tired to even do that. Like, I'm too.
Don't invite me.
I have no motivation to get up from this couch or go see a movie even, because
Right.
it's not just physical, it's also mental.
Right. But it's so important to do that. Like, to do fun things and things that bring you enjoyment, to separate the whirlwind that this world is.
Yeah. I guess we just want to say, like, although we're talking about this topic and maybe you fall into this category of burnout and maybe you don't, just be mindful of it and know what's best for you. That's honestly what we're looking to talk about today, is just, what is burnout? What can happen? What are the signs and symptoms? What are the different types and factors?
That you're not alone. And
you're not alone.
It can look different for everybody too. These stages are just two that it's just what psychologists noticed happening.
Yeah. And again, there's resources out there.
Definitely.
We're definitely going to be linking some. And I guess we just want to remind you that there's support out there. Yeah. There's so much support. I feel very thankful every day that I have the support that I do have, and that I'm very lucky to have that.
Yeah.
But I know that there's support out there for everyone. So
even neutral parties, like the text line, like, they're there to support you. They want to see your success. And don't worry, guys, not every topic is going to be this serious.
No, and honestly,
we have some fun ones coming. We do have another serious one coming within the next week, I hope. I want to do one on consent. And then I think we should try to see if we can get a guest star in and do some hear me outs, because I think it'd be fun.
We have a couple different people that we're looking to get on our podcast, just because it's nice that you can hear from a bunch of different people, like different voices, different opinions.
If you care about their hear me outs.
Well, like we do, we care. But we also care about you. So if you ever have a topic or suggestion that you want to hear about, or you want
your
to touch
story,
base on,
share your stories,
or even share your stories, please DM us. Please comment on our page. It helps us grow. Yeah. And then we can grow together.
Yeah. Let's build a community of healthy mental health and just talking about things that are taboo.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much.
Bye.
Bye.